Hey Bruins, welcome back to the BruinCast. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Ben.
And this week we have on English teacher, Mr. Famous, man that's horrible. We have Mr. Beatty on. We'll cut that out. So, hey Mr. Beatty, we want to assume that not everyone knows who you are. Most people probably do. But just in case they don't, do you want to introduce yourself and what you teach here?
Yeah. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Ben. I'm Mr. Beatty. I teach English. Specifically, I teach AP Literature and ERWC for seniors, and I teach Advanced English 1 freshman classes right now. I also coach our academic decathlon team.
What is ERWC for those who aren't aware?
We're going to get so interesting right off the bat. Huh? That is
for
the
people who don't know.
expository.
Obviously, I know.
Yeah, of course. The expository reading and writing curriculum or course.
Ooh.
I always forget what the C stands for. Yeah, super interesting stuff. It's English 4 class.
So how long have you taught here?
Let's see. This is my 9th year. I started in 2017, so
Okay.
This is my 9th year at Pondo.
And then did you teach anywhere before Pondo, or is this like your
This is
first?
my first actual job. I student taught when I was in school. That was at Cordova High School. It's like couldn't remember the name of that school, so it feels like a lifetime ago. Cordova High School, and I also did a stint at a middle school called James Rudder
Nice.
in South Sacramento. Yeah.
Did you do like try out all the different grades in middle school, or just like one?
I taught 8th grade in
Okay.
middle school, but only for a quarter, so that wasn't particularly long. But while I spent the better part of a year teaching juniors and freshmen at Cordova High before I started here.
So since your time here, like, have you had the same classes you've taught the whole duration, or has it changed?
These 3 that I'm teaching now, and then I've always taught freshmen as well, not just the advanced freshmen, but English 1 too. But yeah, seniors and freshmen. I've never taught sophomores or juniors. Sorry guys, I don't really want to, so don't try to make me.
You're missing out.
Huh?
You're missing out. All the juniors,
all those sophomores. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they're missing out on you.
Oh, they're missing out on me. They can wait till senior year. Sure. Yeah.
So what are your favorite parts that are like kind of different between freshmen and seniors? Like, kind of what do you enjoy
Oh,
about
yeah.
each?
It's definitely a mental switch for me to go from a senior class to a freshman class. Let's see. Seniors, I'll go backwards. I love teaching seniors because you guys, are you both seniors?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know that. I know, Kyle, you're in my class. I couldn't remember, Ben. But I love teaching seniors because you guys are so close to being adults out there in the real world, and I can kind of treat you that way. You sort of manage yourselves. You're fairly self-regulating. It's still high school, but for the most part, it feels a little bit more relaxed. And I can trust you guys to kind of just do what you got to do, because that's how real life works, right? People aren't going to be breathing over your shoulder, forcing you to do things. Now, freshmen, I love teaching freshmen too, but they just started high school, right? Like they just left 8th grade. And I know middle school is a pretty regulated place. High school starts to feel a little bit more free. And so just kind of helping them transition into what's it like to still need the guidance, but also take on that sense of independence and freedom that high school gives you. That's fun.
So you mentioned for seniors, kind of as we're treating us as we're like more like we do what we need to do. That feels more like a college setting.
Yeah.
Like, do you take inspiration from college for that class?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially AP Lit. I teach AP Lit. That to me feels a lot like some of the like literature classes I took in college, which were so much fun for me. I was kind of obsessed with college when I was in college.
Any good college stories that no one knows?
College
that you can
stories.
share?
Well, for me, college was about college. It was about grades and my assignments and doing the best I could, because I didn't start college until a little later than a lot of people do. I was in my mid-20s, so I kind of, rather than get the college experience, I really didn't have a lot of friends. I would interact with people in my classes, but for me, it was about buckling down and doing as good as I can. It was a means to an end for me. But I really enjoyed it. I was obsessed with doing well and writing. I wanted to write the best papers in my classes. I was kind of obsessed with that. So not really. I went to Sac State for my undergrad and UC Davis for my graduate and teaching credential. I had a lot of fun at Sac State. Davis was a little bit more just like head down, getting the work done, but I did have fun at Sac State. I remember I would park off campus. I never wanted to pay for parking, so I'd park off campus, but I would always, I like to skate skateboard. So I would always
Didn't you
skate to
pay
campus.
To park? Like, you have to pay?
You do need to buy a parking pass to park on
okay.
campus. Yeah, so I would not do that, and instead I would go park at, I found this street that was several blocks away, and then I would always skate to campus, and that was kind of fun. I remember one time I almost got hit by a car skating across across a crosswalk at an intersection. I was doing the right thing, right? Like it was walk time, so I started skating across the street, and a car, didn't realize it was red light. Came at me, almost got me, a few inches away, I swear. And a friend of mine, actually, that I knew from life, not from college, was actually walking toward me, crossing. We were going to cross paths, and so she saw that. I remember we stopped and talked about it. She was like, "Wow, I almost saw you die." That was kind of funny. We still talk about that when I see her.
I feel like driving on the road, like, other drivers are almost the scariest part. You
Yeah.
never know it.
No, that's true. We're always, when you're the driver, you're always the one in the right. It's always somebody else.
Oh, you did nothing wrong, right?
I know. I've never done a single thing wrong in my life. Yeah.
So skateboarding, do you do you bike at all? Like, do you that type of stuff too? Or-
Yeah, I like to bike. I don't do any of that as often as I should or want to. But I do love riding my bike. I'm like a road biker.
Okay.
I would like to get into mountain biking. That'd be fun too. But my real experience is in road biking. Yeah, I've got an old, what even is my bike? I can't remember what it is. A Peugeot, an old 80s Peugeot road bike. It's pretty cool.
Never heard of that.
Don't take it out too often, but I should go for a ride every
You
once
should
in
get
a
a
while.
mountain bike.
I should also get a mountain bike. That'd be fun. And we got a lot of good trails around here. I have some friends that do it.
do?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So have you you said you went to Sac State and UC Davis. Like, have you been local your whole life, or did you come from like somewhere further?
I grew up around here. Yeah, so I've been pretty local my whole life. I'm one of those people. Kind of stuck around. I went to those schools because it was practical for me. I had a baby. My daughter's 11 now, so when I was in school, she, partway through my time at Sac State, she was born, and so, I stayed local, and was taking care of her when I wasn't at school or at work. So that was kind of my life, right? It was a much more sort of adult college experience than I'm 19 and heading off to college kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was good for me. It was very good for me, and yeah, wouldn't trade it.
So being an English teacher, do you enjoy writing or reading outside of? I'm assuming you probably, because that's your major.
Yeah.
Do you have anything specifically you like to do with that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I like to read as much as I can. I'm no Mrs. Imney. if she's listening. Yeah, I'm not reading 100 books a year. My goal this year is 23 books.
Still a lot.
And I'm doing pretty good. I'm on 16, so I got 7 more books to read. I know I'm gonna really try to exceed my goal of the year. But yeah, I read every day. I'm not a speed reader. I'm not blasting through books. In fact, I'm reading a book right now called The Fortress of Solitude that I've been on since July. I'm not proud of that,
Is it
but
like
it's
Superman?
dense. What's that?
Like a Superman fortress or like something?
No, it's is that what his fortress is called?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
well there is a comic book theme to it. The
Okay.
main it's actually a book set for the most part set in Brooklyn. And I went to New York this summer, so it was I was inspired to read some New York stuff and watch New York movies. So that's why I'm reading the book. But there is the main character is kind of obsessed with DC Comics as a kid and is a
okay, so
collector.
that's- yeah.
So that must be. I didn't even realize. See, I didn't even catch that because I'm really not a comics guy. But now that you say it, it does ring a bell.
So how do you choose what books to read? Like, is it recommendations or are you just surfing the web?
Usually I don't take a lot of recommendations. I want to read what I want to read. I don't like
How
to
do
be
you
told
find out
to
what you
do.
want to read, though?
How do I find out what I want to read? Okay, well, actually, I take it back because that book I just was talking about was a recommendation. We stayed with a couple in New York City, or in Brooklyn, who recommended this author, Jonathan Lethem. So we went to a bookstore, I bought one of his books. And so that was a recommendation. But for the most part, I will look for books that are either authors I already like or authors I'm just interested in because maybe I've read about them or they were influenced by authors I like or something like that. But I sort of jump around. I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy this year for the first time. I had read The Hobbit forever ago. But I read the trilogy and that kind of got me interested in fantasy, which is kind of adjacent to sci-fi. So and then I'm taking a break from that right now with the book I'm reading, but that I plan on getting back. I'm going to read Dune as soon as I can. I've never read Dune. I like Ursula Le Guin, so it's classic sci-fi and fantasy authors. I like that. I just like all sorts of stuff. I'm also a big fan of Russian lit from the 19th century, so some people think I'm a weird nerd for that. I don't care. It's good.
Is it like communist or just like ideological stuff, or just narrative
I
stories?
do like ideological stuff, not
communism, but like
you know,
ideology.
the anti-Soviet stuff is interesting for me, but pre-Soviet. So Dostoevsky is my favorite author. You're in AP Lit, you're going to read Crime and Punishment. His books are so interesting. There's so much going on. He wrote his masterpieces are mostly from the 1860s, so that's pre-revolution. But still kind of ideological, philosophical novels where
Communism
there's
is the wrong word,
just
but
so
like-
much stuff. Yeah, but I know what you're saying, like maybe Soviet era. And that's not quite as much as what I've read. I like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky. I've read Turgenev and even older stuff, Nikolai Gogol. I'm a nerd for that stuff. It's interesting to me.
So having like read foreign authors and books versus like American or even just English books, like what do you think the biggest differences are between the two, like in terms of culture or just?
Well, in some of the Russian lit that I've read, and I'm no like historical expert or anything like that. I'm just fascinated by these authors, but just cultural differences and kind of the sense of pride for like the motherland, is a little different than kind of the more individualistic stuff you might read in maybe 20th century American lit, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Cool.
Cultural differences are pretty big though. It's part of why it's so interesting to me. I do like something that feels like a world apart, That's why I like sci-fi and fantasy as well. Puts you in a new world, builds something new for you.
Have you read any other cultures, like literature?
Not really at length. I mean, I've read a lot of British lit. You do that when you're an English major, Lots of British stuff. We're reading a lot of British stuff in AP Lit. But there's other cultures I'd like to dive into. Oh, I did get really into the history of the Vietnam War for a while and read some books. Most people are gonna, if you're reading about the Vietnam War, you're probably reading from a white American male perspective,
Yeah.
which is understandable because those are the majority of who was there, at least from the United States, obviously. But I was reading a few books and I was like, I'm reading only white guys that fought in Vietnam. Like I should read some of the North Vietnam perspective as well. So I read this really interesting book called The Sorrow of War by a North Vietnamese soldier. That was cool and really kind of widened the perspective. So I'd like to read more, maybe Southeastern Asian stuff
How
as
much
well.
different was it reading like Vietnam history from their perspective versus American?
Yeah, it was different for sure. I mean, it was somebody who, if you know anything about the Vietnam War, the guerrilla tactics of the North Vietnamese army and the Viet Cong were just completely different from like the American helicopter bombardment approach. So it was pretty interesting, and it was also kind of a love story between two souls. And these were like basically just citizens who jumped into the war effort, which happened that was a huge amount of the North Vietnamese army. So it was almost more of a human story than just a war story, which was pretty interesting. And yeah, culturally quite different from the South Vietnamese or American approach. It was cool.
That's a lot of people don't take the time to look at these major events from other cultures. Besides,
Yeah.
so that's cool that you do that.
Definitely. Well, I'd like to do it even more.
So
Yeah.
within AP Lit, then, what books are your favorite to teach with the discussions that get brought up and like the content of the?
Oh, they're all fun for me. We're reading 1984 right now. That's one of my favorites for sure because there's just so much to unpack. But my favorite book is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I never, I tell it to everyone all the time. But to me, it's because I like when something isn't really straightforward, when there's lots of angles, and there's so many angles to that story, to those characters. That to me is really interesting. I never like when something is one thing. That's why, I'm not as into, I don't know, novels that are just a story that's a straightforward story. I want lots of layers to something. And call me a I don't know what the right word is, a snob. I don't care. That's just what I like. It's interesting to me. Something that really makes you dig deep and think.
Have you watched any of Christopher Nolan's movies?
I have. I love Interstellar.
Yes.
Interstellar is so cool. And I mean, it's like a big box, like Hollywood blockbuster movie that at the same time is like, whoa, gonna blow your mind, and make you
emotional and heady, like with the science.
Totally. Yeah, it's and then just with the science is so fascinating, but then like sort of almost like the philosophical quantum physics questions of time and the black hole. Yeah, that stuff is really fascinating. In fact, I watched that movie this summer with some friends and family, and my daughter, who was 11, we watched it as well. And she and her cousin, who's also 11, I remember like thinking, are they going to be bored? This movie's 3 hours long. I don't think so, but like let's watch it and see. And they were just glued. And I remember talking to her about it so much after the fact, and she was, like really kind of inspired and fascinated, and like looking at the stars afterwards, which was cool. It was cool to see her get interested. So Christopher Nolan's movies are kind of like the film version of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, words.
Yeah, a lot going on.
So what hobbies are you into, like outside of school?
Hobbies. I love hobbies. Life is all about hobbies, if you ask me. I mean, you can go to work and you can have your family, but then everything else to me is hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. So I love to read. I do like to write. I don't do enough of it, but I have a bucket list goal to write some books in my lifetime. Maybe someday I'll actually make that happen.
When you write, is it more like a fiction, nonfiction, like
Yeah,
type of thing?
I prefer to write fiction, to write stories, like the things that have been important. There's been so many stories that have been important to me. So I like to write, or at least develop stories. Like I'd be a liar to say that I sit down and write all the time. I don't have anything finished, but there's stuff in there, and it's going to happen eventually. So that would be a hobby that I need to pursue more. My biggest hobby is music, for sure. Music is has been my favorite thing since I was a little kid. I play guitar, I play the drums, bass guitar. I write music. I like to record music a lot. So that's my favorite thing to do.
So I've got a question for you, and a lot of people listening probably have no clue what I'm talking about. But a couple years ago at a rally, you, I think, Zach Pfeiffer, and a couple other students played a song at the rally. It was epic. Wasn't it like Stranger Things?
It was, it was Metallica. Oh man, the thing is, I'm really not a Metallica fan.
Okay.
So if there's anyone listening who's like into metal, they're gonna be like, this guy's a poser. But that's okay. It was, what's the song? I don't even remember what the song is. It's like the Metallica song.
Master of Puppets?
It's Master of Puppets, thank you. I was trying to think, and I was like, Inner Sandman, but that's not the song. Yeah, it was the Stranger Things rally. So it was me and Mr. Williams, sped teacher on campus, and Zach Pfeiffer, and then I forget, we had a drummer. He was a friend of Mr. McClellan's, who no longer teaches here, but he used to be our activities director, science teacher, played drums for us. So that was fun. Yeah, that was like the funnest thing, coolest thing I've done at Pondo.
How did that come about? Like, whose idea was it? How did you get it approved? Like, practicing?
I think that was Mr. Williams' idea.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. He had the idea of doing that and brought it up to Mr. McClellan, who was into it. And so then he asked me to join up because the two of us have played a little bit of music together. He's a great guy. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun to learn a Metallica song, at least part of it, little chunks of it.
So what type of music do you play then?
Well, I like guitar. I like interest. I guess that was I was saying about books and how there's lots of layers. I like music that is like that as well. So I like to play guitar. I'm not a shredder. I'm not gonna like, shred like Jimi Hendrix or something like that. That's not really how I like to play, and I'm not capable. But I like to play stuff that's interesting. I like to write more than I like to learn other people's music. Just things that sound melodically interesting and kind of intricate to me, even if it's not particularly like fast or crazy, like a metal solo or something like that. It's not really what I do. Just things that are interesting. And so that's why I like to record music too, because you can layer things, layer parts, and kind of create something bigger. I always think of music as like little machines with a bunch of interlocking gears,
Yeah.
And that's what I like to try to create.
So I know I'll do this personally, but like on the piano, I'll just sit down and just play whatever for an hour.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
You're a musician too.
Like listen to it and like, oh, that's a good idea. That's it. Like, do you do that with yourself? Like,
Yeah.
Just play and see what.
All the time, yeah. Pretty much every day, as long as I don't have too much going on, I'll sit down. Like my, what is it called? Your voice or audio recordings, whatever, your voice memos, right, in your iPhone. That's just filled with like idea one, idea two, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of little just parts that I'll eventually try to string together. It's just fun for me. I don't care if it ever leads anywhere. It's just so much fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And like music, like I feel like for me, like it's like almost like an outlet that I can just like dump whatever emotions onto the piano. Like does that work for you? You sit down and you'll feel better after you play for a while?
Always, yeah, for sure. I at home, if I need like to just kind of get centered or think, I like to go outside. I play acoustic guitars, electric guitars, whatever. But you can take your acoustic guitar outside and go play. So I'll grab my acoustic guitar and go find somewhere to sit. I have a pretty beautiful property that I'm lucky to live on. So I'll just go find somewhere nice to sit there and play guitar for a while, and everything mellows out. That's a huge part of my life. Yeah. Yeah.
So looking at your future then, you've been teaching for 9 years, so probably not student really, but have you thought about retirement or other things you might want to pursue as your career?
I'm probably teaching for the duration. As a teacher, you always hear, people will ask you, when are you going to move up and be an assistant principal or something like that? And it's just not, I didn't get into education to be an administrator. Administrators are so impressive and they do so much. But for me, I want to be in the classroom. It's about students and it's about my subject. I love English. So that, if I'm going to be working in education, I think I'm going to be teaching. So that's probably what I'll do. So I'm not thinking about any kind of big job changes or anything. I love working at Pondo. This is awesome. I felt so lucky when I got this job, and I still feel lucky to come to work here. A lot of people hate their jobs. So it's a lucky feeling to not hate your job and to, love it. Teaching can be hard and can be stressful, but for the most part, I come to work and I'm happy to work around a bunch of weird teenagers that make my days interesting. Like I was just telling someone this morning, I was like, you wouldn't believe the conversations I get to overhear every day. You know what I mean? It makes every day new and interesting and bizarre. And I think that's cool. It changes every year. You get a whole new batch of people that you work with every year. Yeah. So I love my job. I love teaching. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
So I've always wondered this, do teachers here, do you get to know other teachers really well, kind of friends outside of classrooms, or is it more of a professional relationship? I mean, it's always going to be professional, but
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. A little. So much of my day is my students, you know what I mean? I'm not working with my colleagues that often. I mean, we see each other, we work together on Mondays, obviously, for our collab days. But I just spend the vast majority of my time with my students. But yeah, I would say definitely we have such a great faculty here. Everyone is awesome. And sometimes we get together, not often enough, I would say. And I think probably most teachers would agree that you get to know the people in your department. So I know that our English teacher's the best here for sure. I would say I have some friends at Pondo for sure.
That's cool.
That I don't hang out with enough. Yeah.
So, you grew up kind of local. Growing up, do you feel like as a person you've changed a lot, or changed what you wanted to do, changed your personality, or kind of looking back, is it?
From my childhood?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that question. I feel the same. I always tell myself I think I'm a 16-year-old forever, kind of trapped in an adult body, and I value that. I think that. And I think, I don't know, I talk with classes sometimes, but about just trying to hold on to your inner child as much as you can in your life. In fact, my wife was just asking me the other day, do you feel old? We were talking about it, right? Because, I'm not old, but I'm going to be 40 soon. So, and the answer is no, I feel young. I think I'm going to feel young my whole life. I'm going to feel like kind of that teenager mentality, and I'm proud of that. I think it makes me a good high school teacher. Yeah. I try to, or I think I have kind of some kind of young energy. I don't want to be an old, stodgy, boring person. I want to stay interested in life and enjoy things that I've always liked the same things. I've always loved music and books, and even skateboarding was my thing when I was a kid. I think kids get really interested in their hobbies and interests, and then adults get interested in money and
furniture,
saving money and furniture and boring stuff. And of course you got to care about those things. But for me, my passions are still the same. Yeah. And so I totally feel like a kid all the time. And I love feeling like a kid.
That's what I hope to be in 20 years. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you will too. I think it's good for the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so you talked a lot about music, but do you have any other major hobbies that you engage in outside class?
I love to, there's things I can't do all the time, but I love to hike and backpack. That's definitely always been, I remember going backpacking for the first time as a teenager, and I was like, this is something I'm going to do forever. So I love to backpack, get out. I like to sort of, the process of testing yourself, you're going to put everything you're going to need for a couple days on your back and just go out into a place that's not going to be nice to you. That's pretty fun. So I love to backpack, hike and camp, that sort of thing. I've been getting pretty into true crime. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries. In fact, I just watched that. I don't know if you guys watch this stuff, but the new documentary on Netflix. I'll watch like every true crime documentary on Netflix that comes out. But the catfishing one, I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. It was crazy. I've been thinking about it for the last 3 days since I watched it. It was absolutely nuts. And so that's an interest of mine right now. I like to watch Dateline too.
What's catfishing? Like, is that fishing for like catfish?
No, so it was like, I'm new to this term. I'm sure that most like students would hear it and know what it means, but it's like, so basically this kid starts getting these really aggressive and bullying texts from like an unknown number.
Okay.
And so I think catfishing refers to like someone who's pretending to be someone else and contacting you online. It's like, like an illegal activity, that kind of thing. But so it's a crime documentary, right? It's about like trying the investigation into who's doing this to this group of kids. And it was just like crazy twists and turns. And it's weird to enjoy true crime because it's about horrible things that have happened to people.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about, just the, like how much of human nature comes out in those documentaries and those stories. And I don't know why there's something interesting about pathologies, but to me it's fascinating.
Like, do you want to talk about human nature? I feel like it's human nature to like be into that. Like, not like you see, it's like you know it's horrible, but you kind of don't want to look away almost.
Yeah,
like,
the dark side of life. I mean, it's part of life. Everyone's gonna. Yeah, I don't know why it's interesting, and sometimes I feel guilty enjoying true crime, right? I mean, but these are stories of real things that have happened, and hopefully it makes you a more empathetic person, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
In this documentary, by the end, you find out everything that happened and who was doing it and why, and it's like outrageous, and you just feel, I think, a greater sense of empathy for the victims. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a justification.
I feel like I hate when people say that they feel guilty for watching true crime.
Yeah.
I'm not big into it, but for me, I feel like it's the same thing as being into history.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like super like hyper fixated on like, like a world war, like obviously that's like a terrible event that happened, but like learning from it and like watching it and like exploring like the psychology and sociology of how like the minds of the people who committed these horrible acts, like I feel like it's pretty interesting, and it is also part of human nature just to be curious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot to learn from it.
I'm not going to make assumptions, but I'm guessing you probably don't like enjoy, like, you find it interesting, but you don't like enjoy the suffering, right?
It's horrible. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not you're watching it out of like that side.
It's out of interest and not enjoyment, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's it's pretty popular stuff. True. That's why there's so many of these like miniseries and stuff coming out, because people are fascinated by it. So there's something there. Yeah, it's interesting to me.
So kind of you said you went to New York this past summer.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you enjoy traveling?
I love traveling. I haven't done enough of it. I have been to a lot of states. I've traveled a lot within the United States, but I haven't done international travel. I went to, I barely count this, but when I was 17, a friend and I went on a cruise. It's the Catalina Island cruise. It's like the 3-day cruise, and you end up in Ensenada, Mexico, which is like barely Mexico. You know what I mean? It's like just south of the border. But I can say I've been to Mexico. So that's the only time I've ever left the country. So I have goals to eventually go. I'm interested in Scotland, Australia, various other places, but I just haven't made that happen yet. But New York City I had never been there. We went in June. It was the coolest trip that I've done. It was just like, it's such an iconic city, and it was a blast.
Scotland's a good one.
You went to Scotland. I remember that. Yeah.
I can attest. Backpacking across those places is super fun.
Yeah, someday for sure. I'm looking forward to it. Saving the money.
Do you know if your family kind of history goes back to Scotland or Ireland? Or
I do have some Irish lineage.
Okay.
Probably Scottish too. I'm not great with my own family background, but I know a little bit. And we have some Irish and Scottish, and I think British. So just the whole, like the UK in general comes from my dad's side. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know it's I don't think it guarantees you, but you get it's way easier to get a Irish visa if you have family ties to Ireland.
That's cool.
Like if one of your like say grandparents or great grandparents is like a descendant from Ireland, it's like way easier to get a visa, and there's like a whole different process for if you're like by blood connected to someone who's from Ireland and versus someone who's not.
I'd have to really do the research.
It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is
how,
interesting.
Like, how like it's like just the nationality can affect that, because that would be like unheard of.
Are you Irish?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
My grandma or great grandma, I think, was an immigrant from Ireland.
Okay.
So
cool. Probably has some really interesting stories. Maybe came to New York City.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Right, like so many other Irish immigrants. Yeah.
Ellis Island into
Yeah. We went to Ellis Island actually. Did the whole Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island tour thing. Not tour, but you just take the ferry out. It was cool. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
Did you get to go to the top of the crown of the statue?
We did not.
Okay.
No, you walk around the bottom. You weren't allowed to do that. I don't think. Yeah, nobody was up there. Yeah, but being at the statue was cool.
Still,
it's just so cool. You have to do that tourist stuff. We went to the top of the Empire State Building.
Nice.
All that good New York City
drop
stuff.
a penny.
We did not drop a penny. I worry about that could like hit the velocity, right? Could that hurt a person? Probably.
I feel like I saw something. I could be way off here, but we're like the maximum, or what's it called, like velocity, where it like reaches the.
Is it like the zenith or something? I'm not sure. Yeah.
I know what it's called, but I don't remember.
Ask your math. That's a question for a math teacher.
Like whatever the maximum velocity of a penny wasn't enough to do damage to you.
Okay.
I don't
so
know,
I could
be
drop a
false.
penny on someone on the street and I wouldn't have to feel too bad about it.
Maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
Next
It would
time.
leave a nasty bruise. But
Yeah. Next time. Scare someone. Okay.
Before we wrap up, we always like to ask teachers if they want to give a pitch for
Pitch.
like their classes.
Oh, for something?
Yeah.
I'll give a pitch.
Or
Yeah, I'll give a pitch.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Let me see. I will pitch two things. I'm going to pitch AP Lit and I'm going to pitch Academic.
Okay.
So I'll start with AP Lit. If you are someone who you may not necessarily even be like a huge reader or a huge writer, but if you just like talking about interesting ideas and hearing other people's perspectives, take AP Lit. It is such an interesting class. I mean, hopefully, Kyle, you're feeling that it's pretty. Yeah. It can actually be pretty fun. It's an AP class where we have a good time, as long as you find yourself interested in stuff. And I'm someone who's like pretty interested in just about any conversation. And so to me, it's a stimulating, really fun class. We read really good books. So if you are someone who likes to read and write, take AP Lit. It is not hard. Okay, it's not that hard. You do have to work, you have to read, and you have to write, but it's not a AP class to be freaked out by, and we're gonna have a good time, and you get to be creative too. So take AP Lit. Also pitch Academic Decathlon. I'm the coach / advisor for Academic. That's what we call it. And that's a fun club as well. Again, kind of the same pitch. If you're someone who's just interested in things, because we cover a ton of material. There's 7 different subjects. Anything from math and science to literature and art and music. And it's usually centered around a particular theme. This year is the decade of the 20s, the 1920s, which is pretty cool. And it's 100 years ago. So fascinating stuff. And we're reading The Great Gatsby, which you don't even have to do if you want to be a part of the club. Just come join us. So if you like stuff, you like interesting trivia, learning things, come join Academic. We'll have fun.
Cool.
Those are my pitches.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys.
Awesome getting to know you more.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Signing off, this is Kyle.
This has been Ben.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.